Hello, everybody. This is Nathan, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle. And I got a very special episode here today that I'm excited to go through. This is a feature of the new Big Big Train reissue of their classic album, The Underfall Yard. I received this in the mail a couple days ago from Burning Shed. Uh, really enjoyed the packaging and everything about the release, the sound quality, everything is just stellar. So I felt like this deserved its own standalone video, its own review of the product, and to kind of show off the product and everything about it, the cool vinyl packaging and all of the artwork and things like that, and to just kind of give my impressions of the album. I've listened to it and just am totally in love with this whole release, so just wanted to share it with everybody because I feel like this is an important prog release that everyone should check out because it's essential prog in my opinion. So first of all, let me showcase the vinyl record itself and kind of show you some of the packaging and what's so exciting about it. So here we go. This is the vinyl itself, Big Big Train, Underfall Yard. Beautiful paintings and artwork all throughout this. It's really evocative of that British spirit, the British kind of pastoral scene, and some of the images really fit the lyrics well because that's what this band does. They really lean into those influences, really have English-inspired music and lyrics that really set them apart from a lot of their contemporaries. I love the storytelling, and the pictures and visuals just really complement that in an amazing way. On the back, of course, more beautiful artwork, the track listing that you can come to expect on the album, all really well done, all really beautiful. And the inside, it's a triple album, so there's quite a bit of inner artwork as well. Beautiful stuff going on in here. There's, of course, credits and an introduction, a long discussion about the album and the remakes and the new tracks that are available, and a listing of all the personnel on each track. Of course, we get in deeper into like more of that beautiful artwork and lyrics, and it's just, there's so much here that's really enjoyable to enjoy as you listen to the music, you know, to fold this out and to really enjoy the lyrics, the artwork, understand more about the history, and I really love that about the packaging and how it can really enhance the record listening experience. I also wanted to pull out the actual vinyl itself because it's really a cool color that kind of complements the artwork as well, just to really enhance the packaging even one step further, which is really awesome. So this is the vinyl, really cool color. It kind of fits the artwork really well. This kind of cherry cola is what they called it, this almost maroon kind of style color that I think really complements the artwork and is really beautiful. Just all brings together all that packaging into one really complete whole, and I just find it really beautiful, and just wanted to share that with you guys. So much care went into this, and so much, you know, in the process, the selection of the color of the vinyl and all of that stuff just really enhances the experience for me. And so I'm really proud to have this in my collection, and really excited to continue to pull this out and to really listen more and more as I continue with this album. So that is the vinyl. So that's the vinyl and all the packaging, which I think really enhances the experience. But the music itself is really impressive too, and I want to talk about that a little bit and talk about my history with the band and what kind of brought me to them and why I love them so much. So really, the first major album that I really loved from them is this one, The Underfall Yard, which came out originally in 2009. I believe I had heard a little bit from them from their previous album, The Difference Machine, because I heard that it featured Nick DiVirgilio and Dave Merrows, who are, of course, heroes of mine from Spock's Beard. So I was really excited to hear them and hear them on this music. So I heard some selections from that, but it didn't really completely grab me as I was hoping. But I had the band kind of in my head, like, okay, this is an interesting band, and maybe when they come out with new music, I can check that out and see what they're all about. And so hearing that Nick DiVirgilio was kind of becoming a permanent member, and there was some excitement around their next album, I decided to check it out, The Underfall Yard, and I really fell for it almost immediately. It was just everything I was looking for in prog, and it really brought back kind of the classic style of the artists I love. You know, it has that Genesis and Yes kind of retro feel, but it brings it into a modern era. It's exactly what I'm looking for in my prog. And I think they really do that expertly. I think what makes this kind of a landmark album in modern prog history is that it really brought back that kind of classic English progressive rock that maybe wasn't as prevalent during that time. You know, there was a lot of progressive metal like Dream Theater and their contemporaries that was kind of pushing progressive music into a more heavier direction. And then there was some American prog bands like Spock's Beard that were kind of giving a more American spin on the prog genre and kind of putting in a more eclectic mix of different styles into it. And so we really were lacking maybe a really classic pastoral prog band that took that style from those classic 70s era albums, that English kind of style that really permeated that early progressive rock scene, and bringing it into a modern era. And I think that's what the Underfall Yard did, and really sparked a movement of a lot of bands that kind of follow in their footsteps a bit in the modern era. So I think this really is a landmark album for the genre, and it's so great to hear it in all its glory here. I really love everything about the production. It's remakes and remastered, and it sounds fantastic. The job that was done here, it just really brings new life into the album in a really fascinating way. There's a few little updates. I believe I read in the notes that there was an additional re-recorded guitar solo for the Underfall Yard, as well as adding in some brass in place of keyboards in the beginning of a Winchester Diver. But beyond that, it's pretty much true to the original version of the album with a little bit of updating in the sonic department, and it really brings it to a whole new level, and it's really an exciting listen. You know, it's always fun to revisit these albums that I haven't heard in quite some time and to just get all re-excited about the music, and I think that's what these reissues really do. That brings a lot of fun as a music listener to revisit these classic albums that I really fell in love with in my musical development. So the album begins with Evening Star, a wonderful kind of vocal opening that kind of introduces their new vocalist, David Lungden, who's now a staple of the band and one of the primary songwriters. Can't imagine Big Big Train without him, and that's, to me, one of the big shifts that took place with this album, was introducing him to the band and introducing his sound. His voice is just, it does have a little bit of that Peter Gabriel essence and quality, but he adds a whole new soulful element and his own unique character to the voice that really enhances it and brings it to another level. Evening Star really showcases that right off the bat, and then moves into some instrumental themes that kind of almost set up as like an overture for the rest of the album. One of my favorite Big Big Train tracks is, of course, Victorian Brickwork, which I just completely fell in love with the first time I heard it. I think it's a stellar track that brings back to mind this kind of pastoral early Genesis vibe, and adding in the brass, which is a huge element to this album, is just, it brings it to another level to me. That brass section, the ending that has the brass swells and the, you know, guitar work, and it's just beautiful, and David Lungden's voice is just angelic and soulful, and he brings it home in such an epic fashion. And it's cool to hear this, and then there's also a new recorded version of it, a 2020 version that's included in the album as well, and to compare and contrast these two is fun. The new version kind of brings in a new vibe. It has some of the newer members on it, such as Rachel Hall, Danny Manners, Rickard Sojablum, just really has their stamp all over it, and brings in kind of what they've been doing in the live versions of this track. So it's a beautiful piece, both the old version and the newer version. Of course, the newer version is kind of paired with Fat Billy Shouts Mine, which is excellent as well. They were kind of envisioned as a pair earlier on, and were split up and put on different records, really. But now they're together again in a newer version, which is a cool spin and a cool take on the album. I really enjoyed that touch that I think really enhances things. To me, Winchester Diver is kind of the hidden gem of the album, the one I didn't think too much about originally when I was really into this album. I was more focused on the title track and Victorian Brickwork, but re-listening and kind of taking in the lyrics especially, I think this is one of their best lyrical works. I really love the vibe. It's almost has kind of a moody, kind of atmospheric vibe to it, which is kind of different than some of the other tracks on the album. And part of that's the lyrics. It's bringing in this kind of interesting dichotomy of this diver who's working on the cathedral, a flooded cathedral, underground, and kind of trying to save it. And at the same time, it's contradicting that with the ethereal nature of the cathedral up above. And the contrast of the two is just a really fascinating lyrical concept that I think is really done expertly. So I really enjoy that track, especially on this listen. And they added a brass sound in the beginning when it used to be a keyboard, and I think that really enhances the track as well and brings that element in. And of course, the epic Underfall Yard is just everything you'd want in a progressive epic. It has all the hallmarks. It has some synth solos from Jim Godfrey of Frost. Has some epic guitar solos and some sections that are soulful and meaningful, and then some faster, proggier sections that really bring the excitement and keep the track moving along. I think it's really an expertly crafted epic by the group, and it's fascinating to hear that version and then to hear the 2020 version that brings all the modern members into the fray and really brings it to a whole nother level. It was interesting hearing these two epics kind of back to back, the older version and the newer version. I feel like the newer version had an added sense of like clarity and a modern sheen to it that the older one didn't have, and it just added a lot of elements. Like there was some additional keyboard things that I heard that weren't in the original, some violin, an incredible violin solo from Rachel Hall that wasn't in the original, that kind of enhances the new version. I think they threw a lot of things that they do like for the live version into the makes here, and it just really brings a new dynamic. It's cool to have the two versions because, you know, sometimes you want the classic sound, sometimes you want to be brought back to the original and how you first experienced it, but sometimes it's cool to hear an updated take on it, especially since they've grown so much through the years and have added some new members that bring a whole new spin to their music. I think it really adds to the sound. And the album ends, like I said, with some of these newer versions of the tracks, and then a new composed version meant to be a companion to this album called Bruenberg, which fantastic, pastoral, beautiful acoustic piece, and brings in all of the elements that they're known for. Their beautiful vocal harmonies, and just it really is ethereal and beautiful, and a great way to end this piece. And almost kind of is a bookmark in an important space in their growth as a band, because some of the members, even since this, have left the group, and now we're into a new stage of the band's development. So it's interesting to kind of have this as a little bit of a celebration of that picture of the band and how amazing they were at this point in time before we move on to the next stage of the band. So that's why I really love this release. It just chronicles the band's progress from the beginning in 2009 to their current state in 2021, and really showcases both the beginning stages of their development as well as where they've come since then in this span of time. So it's really a great look. If you want an overlook at the band in general and just kind of get an impression of Big Big Train and what they're all about, I think this release is a really great starting point for that, and really can lead you down that path towards all of their incredible releases since this one. So I can't recommend this enough. I think it's a fantastic release, upper tier level progressive rock, definitely deserving of any progressive rock lover's attention. I think they're one of the best acts in the modern progressive rock genre, full stop. I think they just have some of the best work of all time in this genre, and I feel like they're even criminally underrated, even though they're beloved by their fans and have quite a good active fan base. I'm part of their Facebook group and, you know, the Passengers Club and all of that stuff. They definitely have a passionate, loving fan base, but I feel like they should be even bigger than they are. You know, I feel that way about many prog bands, but them especially. They just really carry the torch for the modern prog genre and do something so beautiful with it, and I just love them for it. So I'm so grateful for this record and the joy it brought me and will continue to bring to me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please subscribe. I would love that. It would be very nice. I try to talk about all these great prog bands and bring attention to them, many that are in the same kind of lane as Big Big Train, and I hope that some of these recommendations will bring some new interest to the music for many of you. So subscribing would be really amazing, as I'm trying to kind of jumpstart this channel and make it into something. I have a lot of ideas, but I'm hoping to gather more support with these early videos. And I just want to end with, please keep enjoying the music. That's really my mantra here. Enjoy the music and continue listening. And thank you guys for watching. And this is Nathan on Shuffle, and enjoy the music.